Thank you. I want to begin by extending my deepest and most sincere condolences to the grieving parents and relatives of our students who met with that horrific tragedy last night. It's a really sad day for us in Guyana. Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Chief Justice, learned magistrates, representatives from the IDB, Assistant Registrar, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Guyana continues to partner with the judiciary to improve the administration of justice in our country. We see this partnership as extraordinarily important for the economic, social, and overall advancement of our country. The support for criminal justice system program being administered by the Ministry of Legal Affairs continues to make a substantial contribution to the administration of criminal justice. The core objective of this program conceptually was to reduce our prison population, but we have managed to stretch the elasticity of that core objective to embrace related, directly and tangentially, objectives that we consider important for the smooth administration of criminal justice. In this regard, we have offered substantial support to the Guyana Police Force in the form of furniture, in the form of books, in the form of computers. In fact, we have pioneered an initiative which is intended to ensure the complete abolition of statements to be used in criminal trials being done in handwriting and converting that to typewritten statements. And we have given some 140 computers and printers to be distributed across the country to ensure that we don't have handwriting statements anymore. That simple initiative would have transformed the taking of statements and the reliance which is placed on these statements in criminal trials. These statements sometimes are taken in pen, the handwriting is unclear, the ink becomes smudged after a period, and consequently, judges and magistrates and lawyers, after a while, find it extremely difficult to read and understand what is written. That is no longer the position, and now you have typewritten statements across the board. We have been working with the Guyana Prison Service, and we will soon launch a training program to train prison officers to deal with mental health patients and patients who require special attention when they enter the prison system. We have been working also with the Director of Public Prosecutions and have been increasing and expanding her capacity. We have launched, as you know, the Special Prosecutor Program, which has graduated over 40 persons with LLB degrees and who have been specially trained to join the ranks of the police force to prosecute in the magistrates' court across the country. We have just completed the training of another batch, and they'll be graduating shortly and they'll be joining their counterparts already in the system. At the legislative level, we have passed a series of legislation intended to augment improvements in the criminal justice system. I can refer to the Bail Act. We are currently reviewing the Domestic Violence Act, and a Family Violence Act is going to be promulgated shortly. The Domestic Violence Act, as you know, is purely civil. This Family Violence Act will be both criminal and civil, and will empower the magistrate and the police officer to make a number of orders that they cannot make under the current legislation. Of course, we have reviewed the current legislation after some 30 years and identified deficiencies, etc. And we are correcting those deficiencies in this new act. You're well aware of the Restorative Justice Act that we have passed, and we have established a Restorative Justice Center, and soon that center will begin a countrywide outreach program to educate and bring public awareness to stakeholders as well as public members of the public in relation to the work of the Restorative Justice project. We have in the pipeline plea bargaining, a proper plea bargaining bill that is being drafted. We have a plea bargaining law in place, but it is deficient in the sense that it only allows for plea bargaining after a plea of guilty is entered. So it doesn't apply really unless you have an accused person who is prepared to plead guilty. And because of that limitation, it never was utilized in the manner that we had conceived that it would have been utilized when we promulgated it some 15 years ago. So we are working on a new one, and hopefully this one will be repealed. We are also working on a bill to abolish paper committal, abolish preliminary inquiries, and to have paper committal done, and this will bring us in line with the rest of the Caribbean. We are also overhauling the Sexual Offences Act. This is another important piece of legislation which we passed, I believe sometime in 2010. 13 years after, we feel that it should be reviewed, and we are currently reviewing it to correct the deficiencies that would have been identified over the last 13 years. We are also conducting, in fact we have completed a review of the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act to remove from it a whole host of archaic and anachronistic offences, and to modify, rather modernize that important piece of legislation. That work is completed, and that bill will be laid in the Parliament shortly. Sentencing guidelines, I know that is also a work in progress, but after it was done by the judiciary, we had it as part of our agenda, but I understand that the judiciary has undertaken that project, and I'm grateful, so we can concentrate on something else. I spoke about family violence. That continues to be a very, very important issue in our country, as a major social problem. And I have just discussed with the IDB just last week the commission of a study into spousal violence resulting in deaths over the past 10 years. This is a serious problem in our country, but we don't have a singular document documenting the incidence and trying to interrogate the causes of the incidents and to do some type of analysis, view it from the position of geographic location, possible precipitating factors that may have caused it, social background of victim and perpetrator, ethnicity, socio-economic standing of the perpetrator and victim, effect that these incidents have on the family unit being the nucleus of our society, effect it has on children who are without a mother or a father as a result of this incident. And I believe that if we can accumulate this kind of information and then begin to analyze it, we can come up with, I believe, solutions that are practical and pragmatic in going forward to address what I consider to be a serious problem. So the Support for Criminal Justice project continues to offer tremendous support to the criminal justice sector and all the stakeholders that are engaged in the sector. It's a project that is now coming to an end, but I hope that we can renegotiate and get an extension because there is so much work yet to be done. The IDB has been an important developmental partner, and I hope that we can persuade them to do a second tranche of this loan so that we can continue the vital work that we have commenced. Obviously, I know the judiciary, being a responsible institution, will use the vehicle for the purpose for which it is given, and also it will carry it. It's a very expensive vehicle, and we can continue to engage to see how we can continue to help not only the drug treatment court, but also Madam Chancellor, Madam Chief Justice, the criminal justice system. We have some money left, and if there is any initiative that you wish to engage us on, of course, we are willing to discuss and channel our efforts together going forward. I want to thank you very much for affording this opportunity to me. Thank you.